If you found this video, welcome to the first day of the rest of your life.
What?
No, seriously, my goal with this video is to absolutely change your life. We are going to take you from being broke with no money to on your way to building generational wealth. And there's no BS or there's no silly games. This is the historically proven way to actually build real wealth that lasts. So if you're ready to put in the work, come join me and let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to do is assess our current financial situation. So we are going to figure out exactly where we are. And if you have $0 starting out, or you are completely broke, you may have $0 and or you may even have a negative net worth. So here's how we're going to assess our situation, because what we want to do is figure out where we are at this ground level, and then we're going to grow this wealth over time. So the first thing I want you to do is get out a spreadsheet or get out a piece of paper, and I want you to list out your income sources. Most likely, if you have $0, you only have one income source, and I want you to list out how much money you make every single month. Then I want you to go back and look at some of your monthly bank statements, or you can use a tool like Rocket Money and take a look at what your monthly expenses are. We got to figure out why you have $0 in savings in the first place. So we are going to figure out exactly where your dollars are going. So now that you see your income and you see your expenses, what we need to do next is we need to be able to figure out how can we make changes here. So we're going to create ourselves a good old-fashioned budget. Now I know you're rolling your eyes hearing the word budget, but budgets are truly freeing, and I'm going to show you exactly why. So my favorite tool to create a budget is a tool called YNAB, but if you want to do the free version and make it completely free, you can do this in a spreadsheet. So you're going to take your list of expenses and you're going to take your income and you're going to figure out, hey, which one of these expenses am I going to take out over time? And when you create this budget, it is going to be a way where you can see consistent things that you are spending money on. Well, what you're going to do is you're going to create categories based on what you're consistently spending money on. So you're going to have the normal stuff, your rent, your food, your transportation costs like gas, insurance, those types of things. But you may have other things that bring you value. Maybe you're really into yoga and you like to spend your money on yoga. Maybe you're really into getting your daily coffee and you like to spend money on coffee. Maybe you're into eating out at restaurants or you're into golf. It doesn't matter what you're into. You got to make some categories so that you can still allocate dollars towards spending. That's right. Your boy, the personal finance guy, is trying to find ways for you to spend more money on things that you like, because we want you to be able to be balanced and do both over the course of time as you're building wealth. We all know we're not going to do it if we don't get to do the things we love at the same time. So I want you to be doing both at the same time. And then the third thing we're going to do is once you create your budget, you can use a tool called YNAB, you can use Rocket Money, and or you can use something like a spreadsheet. None of those are sponsored. They're just tools that I like to use. Then you want to determine your net worth. Now, your net worth is one of the most powerful things that you need to understand, because this is your assets minus your liability. So your assets are things of value or things that go up in value. So these are things like your stocks, bonds, real estate, anything along those lines. Your liabilities are things that take money out of your pocket. So credit card debt, student loan debt, car payments, all of these different things are your liabilities. So you're going to take your assets minus your liabilities, and you're going to have that net worth number there. Now that is phase one. Now let's move to phase two, where we are going to get clear on our financial goals so that we can achieve our dream net worth number and really start to get rich. So what we're going to do is we're going to set 3 terms of goals here. We're going to set our short-term goals, which is 1 to 2 years. We're going to set our medium-term goals, 3 to 5 years, and we're going to set our long-term goals, our ultimate net worth goals. Now the first thing you want to figure out is, how much money do I actually need to retire? And to figure that number out, you're going to take how much you want to spend every single year in retirement, and you're going to multiply that number by 25. So if you want to spend $80,000 per year in retirement, multiply that by 25, and you're going to have $2 million available. That's how much you need to retire. That's your goal. Now, if you're brand new to money, if you're brand new to personal finance, that may sound like a daunting goal, but let me tell you, once you get the ball rolling and you understand how this stuff works, over time, we're going to get you to that goal. You just got to follow along with what we're talking about here. And then we're going to work backwards from our big, audacious goal. So if we want $2 million over the course of 20 years, maybe you want to retire in 20 years from now, then how do we get to that goal? We're going to work backwards to get to that goal. So you can have a short-term goal of 1 to 2 years of maxing out your Roth IRA. And if you max out your Roth IRA with a 10% rate of return, for example, then what is going to happen over the course of 20 years? Well, potentially, if you max that out, you may have your first $1 million over the course of 20 to 30 years. So that's just one idea of actually having a goal. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some of the goals that you should have in place so that you can work towards some of those goals in the order of operations as to when you should actually allocate dollars for those goals. So make sure you keep watching, and I'm going to go through some of those, but just know you want to have your short-term goals, your medium-term goals, and your long-term goals set in place. And I want you to be very specific on these goals. And also, I want you to determine what your rich life is, because when you're trying to think about your long-term goals, sometimes it's difficult to see how far in advance you're going, especially if you're starting from broke. You're just trying to get by day to day, week to week, month to month. You have no idea how you can even think that long term, but I want you to start to dream a little bit here. I want you to change your mindset and think about, how much money do I need to be able to travel the world and do the things I love? How much money do I need to be able to play golf every day if that's something you love? How much money do I need to be able to go to a yoga studio every day and buy the best yoga clothes and the best yoga mat? I want you to start to dream here, because once you start dreaming, we can put a financial plan in place to allow you to actually achieve that goal. And this is so incredibly powerful in what your money has the power to do. So now we're going to go into number 3, which is what the first goal you should have in place so that you can start to achieve some of these big, audacious goals. So number 3 is we're going to set up our emergency fund. An emergency fund is one of the most important tools that you will have at your disposal. Now, you may have heard of an emergency fund. You may not know totally what it is. And here's exactly what emergency fund does. It protects you against life. Life is going to happen. Problems are going to happen. Your car is going to break down and you're going to need money available to fix that, so you don't have to dip into your savings to go fix that. Your house may have issues and you're going to have to dig into your savings to go fix that. You may have some medical emergency that you're going to need savings for. Maybe you have to take a ride in an ambulance for some reason, and that's a $500 bill. So you need to be able to cover these emergencies when they happen, and the emergency fund does that. But the biggest thing an emergency fund does is it will cover your butt if you ever lose your job. It's the last thing we want to do is interrupt our ability to build wealth. So if you build out an emergency fund and have that available, if you lose a job, you're going to have enough money to cover your lifestyle so that you can go out and find another job. So how much should you have in your emergency fund? 3 to 6 month expenses is the traditional advice. So here's what I would say. Phase 1, we are going to save up enough in our emergency fund to cover our medical deductibles, our car insurance deductibles, and all those other things. So this is usually right around $3,000. So your first goal is going to be save $3,000 in your emergency fund. Phase 2, then we're going to get to 3 months of bare bones living expenses. How can you cut out everything else but still have these living expenses covered? So this is going to be your rent, your food, electricity, utilities, those types of things. Phase 3, we're going to move it out to 6 months. 6 months is where you can get really comfortable, because studies show it takes 3 to 6 months to actually go out and find another job, especially if you're in a competitive field. So you want to make sure that you have 6 months inside of that emergency fund. So where should you put your emergency fund is probably your next question. So you should put your emergency fund in what is called a high yield savings account. And inside a high yield savings account is where you're going to get a little more interest in that savings account than at your old fashioned bank that you go to. If you go to a brick and mortar bank, then using a high yield savings account is going to help you. There's 2 that I really like, CIT Bank and Ally Bank. I'll link up CIT and Ally down below so that you can check those out. All right, so we have our goals in place. We have our emergency fund getting set up. The next thing you want to do is eliminate high interest debt. So high interest debt is anything above a 6% interest rate. These can be things like credit cards. Maybe it's student loans. All of these different high interest debts need to be eliminated because they rob you of your wealth building ability. So if you have credit card debt, that is the number one culprit for most people that is robbing them from being able to build wealth. And it's keeping you poor. So let's get rid of that credit card debt. Let's do this over a time frame. Now, I have a free course for you on how to get out of debt. We will link that free course down below so that you can check that out. But in that course, I take you step by step on how to build out a plan and learn how to get out of debt if you are in debt. But this is the next phase. We want to eliminate high interest debt. Low interest debt, if you have a mortgage, 3, 4, 5%, no big deal, because you can make more money investing those dollars than you can paying off low interest debt. All right, phase 5 is typically when you don't have a lot of money, you have what is called an income problem. And if you're starting with $0, we want to learn how we can increase our income. That is the most powerful thing you can do with your money. Let me say it for the people in the back again. The most powerful thing you can do with your money is increase your income. So how do we do this? The first place we're going to do this is we want to learn how to negotiate our salary at our job. So when we negotiate our salary at our job, we have a very specific system teaching you how to do this and have a free ebook for you guys. If you want to check it out, I will link it up down below. In that free ebook, I teach you how to negotiate your salary. But the easiest way to go through this process is you're going to meet with your boss and say, what do I need to do in order to get promoted so that I can earn more income? And you have your boss lay out a plan. This could be 3 months or 6 months. And then you meet every single month to make sure that you're on track. And we go through that entire process, how to do this. And I also give you scripts in that ebook so that you can check it out down below. Now, the second way to increase your income after you try to negotiate your salary at the time that you spend most, which is your day job, is I want you to look for extra income sources. Because if you only have one income source, you are one person's decision away from having 0 income sources. So it's one of the most dangerous things that you can do. And a lot of people who are broke or don't have a lot of money only have one income source. So I want you to increase those income sources. One of the ways to do this is to look for ways to make money online. Now, we have a bunch of videos talking about how you can make more money online. Some of the ways to do this is work for Upwork and figure out ways to do that. You can start an agency. You can start to create content and get paid creating that content. There's so many different ways to make money online. We'll link up a couple cards with the videos talking about ways to make money online. Another way is to start a side hustle. So getting your active income going. Maybe you can do deliveries with Amazon Flex. Maybe you can go out and do driver deliveries or start a side hustle based on something that you're interested in. But starting these side hustles to grow your active income is one of the best things you can do. And now is the time, the easiest time to grow your income online. With AI, there's so many different side hustles that you can start, and it's really low cost, really easy to get going, but you need to have multiple sources of income so that you can protect your income over time. Number 6 is you got to develop an investment strategy. So here is exactly how you invest your money. I'm going to make this as simple as we possibly can. Number 1 is you're going to open a brokerage account. You can do this at Vanguard. You can do this at Fidelity, Charles Schwab, or M1 Finance. These are the 4 best places to do it. Don't go to some random place that your uncle told you about. Just look at those 4 places. Those are usually in your best interest to go to those places. Opening a brokerage account, you can open a standard one. We'll talk about some other types that you can open also. But if you open a standard brokerage account, what you want to do is once that's open, then you want to allocate as much as you possibly can every single month to that brokerage account. If this is $50, if it's $100, $150, $200, just get as much as you can of your discretionary extra income inside of that brokerage account. Because if you don't invest your dollars, you will never be able to retire. So it's so incredibly important that you learn how to invest your dollars. Once you start to transfer money into that brokerage account, then you still have to invest that money. But what do you invest in? Everyone tells you to invest your money, but they don't tell you exactly what to invest in. Here is my favorite way to invest: index funds and ETFs. So index funds are really low cost ways to invest your dollars. We have a ton of videos on it on this channel. I also have a free investing guide if you want to check that out. I'll link it up below. But we have a ton of different investing videos on this YouTube channel teaching you how to invest step by step in index funds and ETFs. Why? They are low cost, they are historically proven, and in fact, over the long term, they outperform professional investors. So looking at index funds and ETFs are the easiest way to start. And if you're brand new, never bought anything, ETFs are even easier than index funds because they trade like a stock, so you can get in and out very easy with ETFs, and they have lower costs to buy your first ETF. Then what you want to do is once you start to invest your money, you want to just set it up on autopilot, meaning every single month, just have that money transferred over to your brokerage account automatically. You can go into the settings of your brokerage account and you can have that money transferred automatically every single month. This takes willpower out of the equation, so you don't have to rely on your own willpower when you start investing your dollars. So use one of those brokerages, transfer money, get started today. Number 7 is I want you to learn how to take advantage of taxes. And this is part of your financial education that you got to dive into a little more. So a couple of ways that you can do this. My favorite easy way for beginners is with something like a 401k at your job, where you want to get at least your employer's match, the 401k match at your job, and or you also want to contribute to that 401k. And the second way, and I like this one the most, especially if you're a low earner now but expect to make more money in the future, is you can open what is called a Roth IRA. And what the Roth IRA does is you put money in that's already been taxed from your paycheck. The money grows tax-free, and you can withdraw the money tax-free from that Roth IRA. This is incredibly powerful because if you have $1 million in that Roth IRA and you're contributing and maxing it out every single year over the course of 30 years, you're going to have $1.1 million in that account if you get a 10% rate of return. Of that $1.1 million, $8 $250,000 would be tax-free money. So the Roth IRA is a very powerful account, and it is one that you should definitely consider, especially early on when you don't make a lot of money and you're not in a high tax bracket. Number 8 is continue your financial education. I want you to be able to continue your financial education by reading books. So let me give you 3 books that I want you to start with. And if you read these 3 books, you'll be way ahead of most people with their financial education. Number 1 is The Simple Path to Wealth. And The Simple Path to Wealth will walk you A to Z, the easiest path to build generational wealth. It's a lot of what we're talking about here inside of The Simple Path to Wealth. It is a very easy path to get you there. Number 2 is I Will Teach You to Be Rich. And I Will Teach You to Be Rich has frameworks and systems that are truly going to take you to the next level with your finances, including automating your finances and doing some additional things that you really need to be doing. And number 3 is The Millionaire Next Door. And The Millionaire Next Door teaches you how millionaires think about their money and how you need to change your mindset when it comes to building wealth. Those 3 books will change your life. In addition, I want you to continue to watch YouTube videos like this one. There's some other great channels out there as well. And I want you to listen to podcasts. We have a podcast called The Personal Finance Podcast that hundreds of thousands of people listen to every single month. And I want you to check that podcast out. But in addition, there's some other great money podcasts out there to keep you motivated. Because when it comes to building wealth, you have to continue the motivation. You have to keep pushing forward so that you can get to that next level. You got to stay motivated in some way, shape, or form. So continuing your financial education is going to allow you to do that. Number 9 is I want you to learn how to protect your wealth as you start to progress. So this is going to be making sure you have the right insurances. You need to have health insurance. If you have kids, you need to have term life insurance. Don't worry about all the other insurances out there. Term is the cheapest and it covers the most for the price. You can also look at disability insurance. If you have home insurance, homeowners insurance, all these are very important to have, but you need to make sure you have insurances to protect your money at all times. If anything happens, it can really, truly cause a major problem if you don't have insurances. So look at those core insurances so you have those available to protect your money. And then number 10, every single month, I want you to look at your budget and assess your budget, make sure you're on track. And I want you to do it every single month. And then every single year, I want you to do a big comprehensive plan overview. If you want to do it even more frequently, we have a bunch of content talking about that, how you can actually put these plans together and how you can put together the best financial system for your personal situation. Listen, I hope you guys learned a ton in this video on how to build wealth from $0. If you guys have any questions, always leave them down in the comments below and I will answer every single one of them. And don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you like content like this, we create it every single week, twice a week, and I'm going to create tons and tons more for you. Also, check out the Personal Finance Podcast and the Master Money newsletter as well. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we will see you on the next video.